Where's the money gone? Who's got it? If you're not following the money, you are just not awake. And if you're watching in the mainstream media, they will keep you distracted with things of no importance. Football games and so-called, Islamophobia or anti-Christian, or what do you call it? Anti-Semitism. Anything to divide us. They're division freaks because they don't want us seeing what they're doing when they wrongfully drop bombs on human beings in foreign countries and people make a lot of money out of it. Who's making the money? It's not us. It's about wars, according to Julian Assange, are about the transfer of wealth. And he's absolutely right. They're always about someone stealing something and trying to hoodwink the people into believing they're doing the right thing. They're trying to protect us. They are not trying to protect us. It's obvious from what they do. They don't care about us. If they were trying to protect us, they would have ensured the vaccinations were safe before they used them on people and killed them. It's very important. People are very, very critical about everything. They're trying to remove criticism. Everything should be subjected to criticism, or how else can you make anything better? If anyone wants to question the climate change story, it's a story because we haven't experienced it. They're trying to say every time there's a storm anywhere, it's climate change, or any time there's a hot day. I can remember when I was a child here, nearly 70 years ago, walking down the street in early December, almost exactly today, 70 years ago. Early December, walking down the street was so hot you could hardly breathe. The last 4 summers, we've had hardly any sun. If that's global warming, anecdotally, it's bullshit. And when it comes to modelling can do anything. People get paid to do the modelling to find the results that they want to pursue their agenda, which is about a transfer of wealth. So they say they're going to have to monitor our carbon usage now because they're worried about us using fossil fuels, which creates carbon emissions, which cause catastrophic climate emergency. In my opinion, that's the greatest crock of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. There's no climate emergency. There's plenty of the leading experts in the world will tell you that the weather is changing, it's always changed, and it's natural variation. So don't believe them. If they were really worried about our carbon usage and they were worried about burning coal, they'd build some nuclear power stations. And then they come out with this, they've always got a bullshit reason. They say, oh, nobody wants them in their backyard. You don't think they can put them out in the back of Queensland or New South Wales and pump the power in? I mean, Ziggy, what's his name? Forrest. Andrew Forrest is talking about getting solar energy in Northern Territory and pumping it up to Singapore. With the transmission efficiencies they've got today, they can pump nuclear energy all over the bloody world. It's lies. It's about monetarising our carbon. They're now going to put a carbon component on the food we buy at Woolworths or Coles and monetarise it. Who's going to get the money? Why do we put up with it? If they wanted to discuss it, if I'm wrong, I'd be very happy to be wrong. But no one's prepared to give me any discussion which is genuine, which illustrates the problem. The way I see it, there's no climate emergency. And the whole carbon thing is another racket, just like the COVID. Possibly at least 1 trillion, 2 trillion, maybe more public money moving from into private hands. Now they've got this big idea of the public-private partnership. What could be more ridiculous? a public-private partnership. Oh, okay. So the City of Sydney all of a sudden becomes a public-private partnership with Meriton or something, or Harry Triguboff or something. And who's going to be in charge? Who's going to get the power? The money boys are going to have the public service under their thumb. We won't have a public-private partnership. We'll have a private takeover of public resources and assets. They're talking about 15-minute cities because they're worried about our carbon footprint. Have you ever heard anything so ridiculous? So we have to be able to get everything in our local area because they don't want us travelling. While they're flying around in private jets all over the world, they don't want us travelling on the train from Sydney to Parramatta. You know they're lying by watching what they're doing. For God's sake, it's very important to question the government or we don't have a democracy. So we're here. We want to tell you a little bit about the biometric digital ID. There's a wonderful video here. Take a snapshot of the QR code, folks. There's a very short 15-minute discussion on YouTube. And the notion is the most dangerous thing in the world is effectively digital tyranny. It's about digital control of us. Everything you do, you will have to get permission via a digital system where you can't talk to a person and you are going down a sheep race where you can't go left, you can't go right, you can only go down the pathway they compel you to go down just to exercise your human rights. Another little problem is they're starting to censor the internet and filter private messages. In England now, they're rolling out drones in the municipalities. Some of the local governments in England are rolling out surveillance drones over the people. Do you want your local government to have a surveillance drone coming over your house and looking in your bedroom and in your back garden? Where's the debate in the Parliament? And you think you're going to vote Labor or Liberal or Greens and this is going to change? It's not going to change. They are all bought. They are all controlled with money, or the media does a hatchet job on them and they get kicked out of the Parliament. They get deselected. Don't vote for the major parties. They're all in on it. They are all backing the scam. Find a local independent that you know, someone plays football with you, cricket, or goes to university with you, who's a trustworthy bloke, who's got kids in your neighbourhood, who's a local. They're flying people in from the other side of Australia into electorates left, right and centre. They're not even locals. Now here's another little issue. Why haven't we got up to the minute political party donations, information available for the public? If Harry Triguboff, bless his heart, and he's probably a good bloke, wants to go and give the Liberal Party $1 million today, why can't I see it today, in this day of instant communications? Why is it taking us, it's something like 10 months for the ABS to put out the statistics, isn't it? Why aren't these, isn't this, they go data, all the data. Bullshit, they won't give us the data. You try and get it, even if you put in a freedom of information request, it's a gamble whether they'll give you any useful information. It'll be so obsolete. You know, it's not going to work till every single Australian realises, and this is all these lovely Muslim people, lovely Asian people, people from Africa. I love you all. We're all just human beings, for God's sake. We're people. We're not Christians and Catholics and Muslims. We're people. And I don't want any government dropping any bombs on any people anywhere in the world under false pretenses. We went into Iraq to help the people in Iraq, remember? They were going to greet us with flowers and sweets. We only ended up killing maybe, I don't know, I think it was somewhere in the vicinity of 1.5 million. We wrecked the country. Exactly the same thing in Ukraine. You think we're in Ukraine to help the Ukrainians? It's been estimated there's been 1.7 Ukrainians killed in this war. The country's been half destroyed, and if Trump doesn't, if the Americans don't settle it, which they won't because people are making money out of it, they're going to kill a lot more people and they're going to destroy a lot more places. They're worried about carbon emissions. How much carbon does it take to build all the steel and all the concrete to rebuild Gaza? They're not worried about carbon emissions. They want you to think that we're all going to die of climate change so they can monitorize it and control your carbon footprint and where you're allowed to go. If you vote for the Labor Party or the Liberal Party or the Greens, you are out of your minds. They've betrayed us time and time and time again. The way I see it, they're in the realm of treason. I mean, if it was a real, if we had any real probity in the system, a lot of these people would be in the dock for treason. So that's all I'm going to say for a minute. I'm going to put you on to a friend of mine. But please remember, free speech is very, very important, and anyone that would seek to take it away is a very bad person. They're trying to hide wrongdoing. Yeah, I'll put you on to my friend Tony. Have you had your did you go up to date with your vaccination schedule?
No.
Have you joined?
What do you think?
Anyone out there going to join the military to go over and help the Ukrainians?
No.
1.7 million of them killed. That's our way of helping them. And how much money went into the military-industrial complex? Companies like BlackRock buying up all their agricultural land or a lot of their agricultural land. I mean, for God's sake, the news is not, they don't tell it, the news is what they don't tell us. The rest is advertising. There's a very good news site out there called UK Column News that comes out of England. I strongly suggest you do that. And just remember, hiya boys, good on you lads. Don't believe everything they tell you because most of it's bullshit. They lie. They don't teach you the truth. Go out and get it. It's on the internet. The truth is on the internet. It is not in the system. The system is a crock of deceit, and if you trust it, you're a damn fool. So, if any of your teachers want to come and say a few words about human rights, I'd be very pleased to hear it. What do you think about free speech, teachers and fathers and mothers and fathers? Do you think they're trying to take it away for a good reason? To protect these beautiful, smart children? You think they're so stupid that they need to be protected from the internet? And good on you, boys. 3 chairs is a Trinity, is it? Where are you, Trinity? Where? Newington. We used to beat Newington every time when I was at school. When I was at school, you didn't have a chance. The worst rugby players in the state. I hope you've got better.
Thanks, Billy. Wise words. Worth listening to. Yeah, free speech, digital ID. Your right to go onto the internet. I've got a good audience here. They look like they're all under 16. Your government's about to remove your right to go on sites like YouTube where you can learn a lot of valuable information. And in fact, as much as people like to say the internet's a bad place, the internet is also a good place. The internet also has good information. We know it has bad information, and that when it comes to pornographic information, if the government's really worried about this information getting into the hands of children, then the government should go for the pornographic sites and close them down. They're the criminals. These children here are not the criminals. They should not lose their right to the internet. I've got a good audience. Thank you. Thank you. And if you're listening, Anthony Albanese, these people will be voting in a couple of years. So if you bring in this digital ID internet ban for children, just watch out in a couple of years when they get the right to vote. Can you hear that, Albo? Can you hear that? Because that's what you're up against. That's what you're up against. Anyway, look, there's a couple of 15-year-olds that are taking on Anthony Albanese, and he's under 16 ban. And as a result, you are maintaining your right to the internet for another 6 months. It's been delayed. There are people out there working on your side, including people your age. As I say, two 15-year-olds in the High Court have stopped our federal government in their tracks. So hopefully we get judges in the High Court that read our Constitution very carefully, and they read our right to information, our right to be informed, our right for free speech, and hopefully in the end they get rid of this nonsense ban, this so-called e-safety ban, which is a deceptive way of bringing in a digital ID. That digital ID will be used to control all of us. Because if you're over 16, you'll have to have a digital ID to get onto the internet. So it's a thinly veiled attempt at controlling us. Surveillance state. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Anyway, we've been here for 6 years, and this is our 315th. So welcome to our 315th Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. Julian Assange has made a point of criticising how powerful entities can use artificial intelligence to achieve increased power and to avoid being held to account. As with all technologies, AI may be used for good, but when it is in the hands of bad actors, it can be used to bring about negative outcomes for all of us. Artificial intelligence is a potent tool that is being used to achieve highly detailed mass surveillance for controlling public discourse and the flow of information, and for arranging the mass assassinations of people. When we go online, we are encouraged to use artificial intelligence, and it is often available for free. We are encouraged to believe that artificial intelligence provides us with a well-balanced examination of the available facts, but it is programmed to stay within the bounds of the propaganda that suits the powerful entities who fund it. As J.J. Coney points out, mice are caught in traps because they don't understand why the cheese is free. It's not just mice that get themselves caught in traps. We have been given free access to radio and television broadcasts, social media and search engines. And now we can use artificial intelligence at zero cost. It's time that we all learnt why. Propaganda is a trap that prevents democracy and our freedom. When we consume media that are free, we consume the propaganda that keeps us down, and the powerful entities can then rule over us. Join us in this free speech zone.
We're just trying to meet our families over here. Could you just be quiet for 5 minutes, please? It's really loud. Just in case.
Got 1 second. Join us in this free speech zone at Sydney Town Hall and be part of bringing out the truth. The Assange movement continues. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. While you can, free, free, free the truth. Thank you.
Now listen, all you beautiful, beautiful people here. I'd like to make a few comments here. The Nuremberg Code, Article 6, Section 3. No government can mandate or force medical treatment without individual consent. The Nazi doctors were hung. The Nazi doctors were hung for doing that. There's another thing. During the Nuremberg trials, and probably haven't taught you this at school yet, but keep studying, question everything, research to corroborate everything. But during the Nuremberg trials, even the media was prosecuted and put to death for lying to the public. Now the government tells us we have a problem with misinformation and disinformation. But the question is, why would they want to ban speech? Why would they want to limit or restrict our free speech if they are worried about misinformation? Because we should be able to question it. But I have to ask you, where is the misinformation coming from? Is it coming from you or your next door neighbour? Or is it coming from the TV and the government and the media? So I just want to remind you, during the Nuremberg trials after the Second World War, even the media was prosecuted and put to death for lying to the public. And we have a problem with credibility in our media. Be very careful of it. Most of it is poison, in my opinion. The mainstream media is poison. There's excellent information on the internet. For Christ's sake, go and do your own research. It's easy to find. The good side of the internet is fantastic. I've got a quote here by the wonderful Thomas Jefferson. The founding fathers of America were truly some of the greatest humans that have ever lived. They really gave the American people the most wonderful system and set of rules with checks and balances. And one of the great founding fathers was Thomas Jefferson, which you probably all know. Here's a lovely quote by Thomas Jefferson. The man who never looks into a newspaper is better informed than he who reads them. The man who never looks in a newspaper is better informed than he who never reads them, inasmuch that he who knows nothing is nearer to the truth than he whose mind is full of falsehood and errors. Thomas Jefferson. There's a better one from George Washington. Here's a lovely one. This guy says he's vaccinating his family against propaganda. He's throwing the TV out the window. Now this is a very good one, kids. If you remember nothing, I hope your fathers have told you all to believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. It's an old proverb, but it's something that every person in this country should remember. Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. Get on the internet and try and corroborate what you're being told, and you'll be left very disillusioned and pitiful of what you're being told. Here's one by George Washington. If the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. That is a quote by George Washington, one of the founding fathers of America. We need to be taught this by our teachers. How many of you have learned anything about the Bolshevik Revolution? Hands up anyone that knows anything about the Bolshevik Revolution. It's estimated they killed 45 million Christians. 45 million Christians. You should be taught this in school, because autocratic governments, dictatorships, tyranny, very easy to get into it, almost impossible to get out. Ask the Russians and the Soviets. The next door neighbors were spying on them and dobbing them into the government to get money. It's a fact. You have to be very, very careful of governments, because they can kill people on an industrial scale, and we need to keep them in line. We need to keep questioning them on free speech. Dr. Miley Trent, my hero, is here. A true freedom fighter. Stand up for your human rights, boys, or you'll lose them. Free speech, freedom to travel, medical freedom. There's a lot of them. Freedom to work, freedom to trade. Do not let them use this digital trick. The globalists want to bring in a digital system where they can control every little thing you are allowed to do with a digital control system. This is not the Australian government. The Australian government is doing it, but they're being pressured to do it by foreign governments who do not have our interests at heart. They are about power, profit and control for themselves. This is a foreign thing, and we need to stand up for our sovereignty and our human rights. And I hope every one of you children out there will remember what George Washington said. If they take away free speech, we can be led like sheep to the slaughter. There's another lovely meme here. We're talking about fact checkers. Who pays the fact checkers?
Who checks the fact checkers?
Who checks the fact checkers? They don't check the facts, they hide the facts. Be skeptical, guys. The hallmark of intelligence is to be skeptical. Be skeptical. There's an officer of the Sydney City Council. Thank you, sir. Doing a good job. I wanted to say something about the police. We've been here for 6 years, and the police have been very, very good to us, and I'd like to thank the police. At the end of the day, the police are citizens as well, and they understand that our human rights, they are there to protect us from despots and criminals, even if they're in the highest positions in society. So, there's another fun fact. You like this? I wish I had all your teachers here, that your headmaster that mandated you to take those vaccinations. You can have as many vaccinations as you like, but how dare you try and force me to have them to go to school? It's evil. It's absolutely bloody evil. They didn't test them properly. They knew they killed people, and yet they went ahead and did it anyway. Here's a fun fact. Isn't it? The Therapeutic Goods Administration, the authority on safety of vaccinations and all the various regulation of it. Remember, the government told us in 2019, early 2020, there was a pandemic and we're all going to die of COVID if we didn't go and get the warp speed vaccination. Remember? They said there was going to be astronomical amount of deaths in 2020. Well, I'll tell you, here are the facts. From January on the 4th, this is according to the government, the Therapeutic Goods Administration. From the 1st of May 23, the COVID deaths up to the May 23, 21, that was a year, and 2 months later, there was one COVID death. The vaccine deaths, 210. The government is telling you there was 210 COVID vaccine deaths. And they're going to try and do this scam again. They're going to tell you you're all going to die of the bird flu. Better go and get 7 shots and 13 boosters. And keep your vaccination schedule up to date. Your vaccination schedule up to date. You go the booster. That's the killer. Go another booster.
I got a heart condition for the COVID vaccine.
Please come and tell everyone. I wish you would. It's a free speech zone. That's what we want. We want discussion. Tell them loud and clear.
All right, so basically, I got the coronavirus vaccine. I think it was the Pfizer one. And after getting it, after getting the first shot of it, I had heart problems for about a week and heart pain.
A gorgeous thing like you. First 15 guy.
Yeah, I was about like 16 years old, I think, 15. And then since then, I've had on and off heart issues that lasted it wasn't a consistent amount of time, but every now and then I'd have to rush to the hospital thinking I had a heart attack.
So what have you been diagnosed with?
I got pericarditis.
Wow.
Yeah, so
From one shot.
yeah, the first shot.
One
of the
shot,
vaccine.
that's all you had.
And then, because I ended up taking the second one, because you get the 2 at the start, right? The first one, I got heart issues for a week. Second one, I didn't get anything. And then fast forward to last year, I was sitting my HSCs, and all of a sudden, the morning of my last exam, I get a massive pain in the heart. It consists all the whole day, all through the exam. I go to a GP, they think I'm having a heart attack. Go to the hospital again, everything's fine, nothing looks wrong. So I go to a cardiologist and he says, you probably got pericarditis, and a lot of people got that from the vaccines. I know at least 2 mates as well. One of them has myopericarditis, which is the same thing but even worse. I've just got a fluid buildup on the muscle in front of my heart.
Yep.
He has fluid built up on his heart. And I've got another friend who's also just got the same thing as me. And I don't know, it's just ridiculous that when I actually got COVID, and when a mate who was unvaccinated got COVID, it was like a mild flu. It was absolutely nothing at all. So it was just ridiculous. It felt like fear mongering for no reason. And then they also ruined the economy.
Yeah.
With all the lockdowns. So I heard back the mic to you.
Thank you very much, young man. It's absolutely true. You're no orphan. There's been millions and millions of people that have either died or had very serious medical conditions from these vaccines. They knew it. And they went ahead and mandated them. It's so criminal, in my opinion, it's so criminal. And I can't believe that the judges down the Supreme Court aren't doing something about it. They were injured as well. I have a friend of mine who's a judge. He was injured himself. It's just terrible. It is so, and it was a globalist thing. It wasn't from the Australian government. It was about the Australian government saying, yes, sir, 3 bags full to these globalist tyrants that want to bring in digital ID so they can force us to be up to date with our vaccination schedule. Or otherwise we won't be allowed to go to down to Woolworths. They did it already. That was the trial run. Stop. People have got to question the government, and I'd like to thank this young man. There's been millions. There's epidemiologists who are experts in all of this that say they didn't save 13 million lives. They actually caused 17 million deaths globally. We don't know for sure, but it's very, very important that people don't stick stuff in their body unless they know it's safe. And as for the teachers forcing kids to take these things, I can't believe how stupid they were. Well, everyone's doing their best. Love your neighbour. Do no harm. And stand up for the right thing for yourselves and everybody else, because they're trying to take away your freedoms with digital ID. Anyway, I'm going to sing you a song to cheer myself up. It's a song about freedom. Yes. Come fly with me, let's fly away. What if you can use some exotic views as a part for Bombay? Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down Tuckaroo. And Llama Land, there's a one-man band and it'll do this flute for you. Come fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there, where the air is so rarefied, we'll just cry, oh, starry. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You might even I'll angel cheer, 'cause we're together. Otherwise it's such a lovely day. Oh, just say the words and we'll beat the buttons down to you. Hey, double bang, Newtown, perfect for a flying honeymoon. They all say, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly, let's fly, oh, let's fly. Once I get you up there, where the air is so rarefied, we'll just fly, oh, starry eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you with a song. Oh, you might even oil angel chick, 'cause we're together. Otherwise it's such a groovy day. Oh, just say the words and we'll beat the birds down to, hey, Byron Bay. It's perfect for a fly honeymoon. They all say, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Back up, let's fly away. Folks.
Yeah, some good news. Dan Duggan, who was a former US Navy Top Gun aircraft carrier pilot, whose commanding officer said of him that he was the best of the best that he'd ever commanded. He was a true patriot, and he could not imagine that Daniel Duggan could do anything to jeopardize the national security of our country or the United States of America. Our government last Christmas, I think it was Christmas Eve, under Mark Dreyfus, the then Attorney General, secretly slipped through in Parliament the extradition, he approved the extradition order to the United States of America. Since then, there was an appeal that was heard in the Supreme Court. And the new Attorney General, Michelle Rowland, is contemplating the finding of that appeal. And finally, after Dan Duggan, who's now an Australian citizen and has been since 2012, has an Australian wife and 6 children. He's a family man. His children are all at school or university. When he was taken into custody 3 years ago and not told why he was taken into custody and removed from his children's custody when he was at the supermarket buying groceries, he was held in prison for, I forget how many weeks, but several weeks before they even told him why they were holding him. Now, 3 years later, we're waiting to hear from Michelle Rowland. And finally, some politicians are standing up for Daniel Duggan because they realise this is not about one man. This is a bigger issue than one man. And it's the Australian Citizens Party. And they are calling on us all, saying now his case hinges on the judge's ruling from the appeal heard on the 16th of October. We need to preempt new Attorney General Michelle Rowland from copying Dreyfus by flooding her office with calls and emails every day to demand justice for the Duggan family, and that she not extradite him under the cover of Christmas. This is ultimately a fight for Australia's sovereignty. And Dan Duggan's only defenders are not his government. His government have abandoned him. His government have failed in their primary duty to defend an Australian against a foreign country. So call and or email Attorney General Michelle Rowland. Michelle.Rowland.mp@aph.gov.au, or call her on 02 96 71 4780 and end this 3-year ordeal for not only Dan Duggan, who's been held in solitary confinement for those, he was held in solitary confinement, I think it was for the first 19 months. He's now in a mixed group. But I encourage you all to stand up for this man, because you're standing up for your own sovereignty, that we should not be under the control of a foreign country who seeks to make a spectacle out of an Australian citizen, to drum up anti-China phobia. And I might say that when he did what he did, which was training civilian airline pilots, he was doing it in South Africa. He was doing it side by side with other fellow ex-military people from Australia and America and all around the world, because China is growing its civil aviation fleet faster than any country on earth. So they need pilots faster than any country on earth. And these civilian aviation pilots present no security threat whatsoever. This is a totally trumped up, he's being used as a pawn in a war game. Thank you.
各位华人朋友，感谢你们在匆忙的步伐中停下片刻。今天我站在这里，不是为了温柔地叙述一个国家的悲剧，而是要大声地揭露集权统治如何摧毁人性、撕裂社会、威胁世界。在中共集权之下，人性被迫扭曲。当国家以恐惧统治人民，当政府以谎言遮住真相，当斗争成为天天洗脑的口号，人性就一步一步地被摧毁。我在这里有亲身见证的例子。例子一：恐惧。恐惧下被迫的背叛。今年5月29日，中共军警血洗佛门，抓捕地生和尚的弟子。弟子们在军警的威胁下，被迫做出对师父不实的指控。这是暴政逼出的背叛，不是人心的选择。第二，亲情崩解的悲剧。有一位地生和尚的弟子，他逃到美国投靠儿子，儿子却因为恐惧不敢牵连，反对母亲驱赶回中共的魔掌，他母亲而被抓捕。他没有考虑到母亲只是一个很单纯的修行人，他没有做错任何事，但是儿子因为恐惧，在这个集权制度下，仇恨教育让爱变成负担，让亲情变成风险。第三，全民不信任的文化。活在中共的统治下的人，长期被监控、被迫害，他们不敢信任任何人，甚至因为一个小小的误会，有人善意要道歉时，他们也本能地拿起手机录影、录音、存证。这不是他们的错，这是集权制造的心理创伤。集权制度的输出对世界的威胁，中共所制造的这些悲剧，不只发生在中国，中共正将这一套恐惧、仇恨思想输出到全世界。今天，中共战狼四处叫嚣，挑衅民主世界，威胁邻国，公然宣称要以武力侵略台湾。他的手法就是以暴力维持政权， 以恐惧压制人民。但我要告诉全世界，当共产集权制度壮大，自由世界就会衰弱。这不是中国的问题，这是全人类的问题。觉醒吧，站起来，捍卫人性的自由。面对暴政，沉默就是助纣为虐；面对谎言，沉默就是放弃真相；面对集权，沉默就是让邪恶蔓延。今天，让我们喊出：还原真相，捍卫自由，拒绝恐惧，抵抗集权。人类必须从共产党的暴政中觉醒，因为自由不是天上掉下来的礼物，而是勇者守护的成果。Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Thank you.
Please enjoy your time in this free speech zone. Thank you.
It is from the revelation of truth in all our stories. The people who are affected by history are its creators. And for other journalists and publications, your work speaks for itself.
I actually knew in September 2000 when I was in Afghanistan. I didn't know what this was like. I didn't know all this at the beginning, but I knew somehow I was going to be a prisoner.
Hello? Hey, fuck that guy!
It's always right, isn't it?
To do.
We are all a song.